You probably take a ton of photos with your iPhone, but we don't usually take the time to look back and actually enjoy the photos and videos we've taken. And an obstacle to that is having them organized and actually finding the photos that you want to look at and not see a bunch of duplicates or screenshots. So I want to share 5 things you can do right now. It'll take maybe 10 minutes or less that will help you organize your photos, surface better memories and favorites that you can put on your lock screen, home screen, even your Apple TV. They make your smart home even better, and then you won't have to worry about organizing them in the future. And going forward, your iPhone will show you great photos of people you love and care about all by itself. And step 1 is the most important. Let's go to the Photos app, and here at the bottom left, you have your library, which just shows you all the photos you've taken, and here you have Collections. Go to your Collections tab, and then scroll down until you see People. Tap on People, and whatever time you spend here actually organizing and naming people, this is going to be the most worthwhile for your time going forward. When you scroll down, you'll see a bunch of faces that your iPhone has recognized. These will be photos that you've already taken. They could be old photos and new. If you've named anyone, you'll see them here. You can also favorite people, which we'll get to in a moment, and you'll also see people you might not have named yet. So if I scroll down, I recognize this is my Aunt Beverly. If I tap in, it will see all the photos where that person's face is recognized. These are pictures from a trip to New York City we took a couple years ago. Well, what you want to do is name this person. You can tap here, or just tap and hold right here on the Faces grid, and then you'll see you have lots of options. You can edit the name and photos, and you can also choose to not feature this person or hide this person. I'll just tap Edit Name and Photos, and when you tap Name this person, if they're in your contacts, they'll also come up automatically. I'll tap her contact card there, and you can also choose to review photos identified as this person. If you spend a couple seconds doing this for various people, and you can confirm or deny whether that photo is that actual person, and it will help train your iPhone to recognize photos. I found the facial recognition really impressive even for my kids, where there's photos when they're very young to today, and it gets them all right. This is my friend Nick, and let me name this person. And now I can see all these different photos, even this one from college with our friend Danny. And Nick was in the background there, kind of dark, and it's pulling all the photos of my friend. And then you can choose to not feature this person, meaning they won't show up in your home screen and lock screen and other widgets, which we'll get to in a moment. And you can hide them completely, even from this photo grid. You can also choose to favorite them, and then they'll be featured even more in those widgets and memories. You can also go into one of your people here, and if a photo is actually not them, you can tap and hold on a photo in their Faces category, and then you'll see this is not Nate. So if you see any photos that are miscategorized, you can tap that and tell your iPhone that's actually not the person that I have labeled. Now, if your iPhone has doubled faces of people, tap the Edit button here at the top right, and then you can select multiple people, tap the 3 dots at the bottom, and you can choose to merge those multiple people into a single person. You can also create a new group. I've done this with my kids, and you can even do this with your family. Then you'll see groups here at the very top of the People tab. And you'll see my kids. I've chosen my 3 kids there, and now all the photos of all 3 of them will show up here. And I have another group for our fam, which is me, my wife, and my kids. If you want to create a group, I'll tap the Edit button here in the top right again, choose multiple people. I'll make this the grandparent group. I'll choose Create New Group. It's telling you everyone who's included. I can also add additional people here, and I'll call this group Great Grandparents. And once you've created a group, it will only show photos where everyone in that group is present. So my kids group here, it's only going to show photos where all 3 of them are in the same photo. And for my family group, it'll only show photos when it's all 5 of us. Finally, under this People tab, you can choose to sort it manually, so that's sorting by custom order, or you can sort it by name alphabetically. You can also tap the plus button here and you can add a person. You can choose from the many photos your phone recognizes and create a new person and choose which photos are actually them and not. Labeling people in groups makes a huge difference for memories, widgets, and even on your Apple TV and in Apple Home. Now that I've set some people and groups, I'm going to create a new lock screen. I'll tap and hold there, tap the plus icon, and I can do a photo shuffle or choose some of my featured photos. And here you'll also see people that I've named here in the Photos app. You'll also see places here, but I'm going to choose the photo shuffle lock screen. And here, those same people that I labeled in the app, I can choose what people I want to feature on that lock screen. If I just want to see my immediate family, I can choose those 4 people. I can uncheck nature and cities, shuffle frequency, and then tap Use Featured Photos. And now that lock screen will change every hour, and it will show me a photo of either my wife or my kids. And I still really like that iOS 26 lock screen where the clock goes behind the subject. Really cool. And not only can you put those featured photos on the lock screen, but you can also do widgets right here on your home screen. Search for the Photos widget over here, and you can choose to do a featured photo. I'll choose the medium-sized widget, Then I can tap in to edit it further. I want to always display in full color, spatial scene effect, and now it's going to show one of the people or places that are in my photos that my iPhone thinks I want to feature. And naming and favoriting those people goes a long way. Also, if you found yourself not using the featured photo widgets and lock screens because it's showing someone that might be an ex or someone that's passed away, that might be a reason why you want to don't feature that person here. You don't have to hide them from your people tab, but you can choose not to feature them so they don't show up in all those shuffles. Naming those people in groups also comes into play when you want to search your photos. Now when I want to search my photos, I can search a name plus a location, a name and a date or year, and even multiple names. So I can choose something like Asher and Samuel, and I can see those people here, or I can just go over to photos and see photos that have both of those people in the photo together. So these are all photos with both my son and my dad. I can also search for dinner with Whitney, that's my wife, and then I can see photos of us at restaurants, going on dates, and you can also search for years. So I can search for my son Jordan and maybe go all the way back to 2012, and just putting their name and the year, now it will show me photos of my son that my iPhone recognized is his face and from that year. And you can even go so far as to add a second or third person to that search. So I could search Jordan and Asher from 2012. My middle son was born in 2012, and look at that. Photos with my middle son as a baby and Jordan. Once you have those featured photos, I would also encourage you to try to use an Apple Watch face that shuffles through your featured photos. That's a great way to relive those memories often. And another great place those featured photos and people will appear is on your Apple TV. You can go down to the Photos app right here, and those memories with people, places, and dates, they'll show up here as well. And you can even set a screensaver for your Apple TV that takes advantage of those photos. So I'll go to the settings here, go up to screensaver, and instead of aerials, which I do really enjoy, I can go to memories and slideshows. Go back one, and then you can have more settings here for memories and slideshows, including rather than favorites, you can do all memories, which again, if you really focus on what people you want to feature or hide from those memories, then it'll be much more tailored to your liking. You can also choose an album. Then if I go back to the home screen with the apps on the Apple TV, if I hit the back button a couple times, it will start the screensaver and you'll see it's now featuring photos. You see there's actually people being featured. You see the title in the lower left corner. And I can actually click the left and right buttons on the Apple TV remote to actually go between the different memories. Do I want to see the growing up photos? I can tap to the right. These are photos of my wife from spring 2019, and it will just scroll through photos from that memory specifically. You can also just lightly tap on the Apple TV remote to bring up the title of this memory if you want to be reminded of it. And when you favorite those people that you want to see more often, it makes the whole experience on Apple TV and screensavers way better. Also, naming people's faces comes into play if you have HomeKit video cameras, especially a doorbell. I have a HomeKit secure video doorbell. I actually did an entire review on the latest one. I'll put it up here. But here in the Home app, tap the three dots in the top right, go to Home Settings, and then scroll down to Cameras and Doorbells. From here, at the very bottom, you'll see Face Recognition. When you tap into there, toggle this on, and now you can be notified of someone who's at your door, and if their face is in your photo library, and that will actually be announced on HomePods and on the Apple TV or in the notification on your iPhone who's at the door. Also, you'll see libraries here that everyone in this home, namely my kids and my wife, they'll be recognized. And there's also a known to household. So if you've named a bunch of people who have shown up at your door, then it will remember those faces, even if they're not in your contacts, and it will let you know that's the person. You can also see the recents, and my patio camera and my studio camera is catching me everywhere. And when you go into a person, you can even hide notifications. So if your kids are always running in front of the door and you're getting notifications constantly, you can hide those from a specific person. So that's all the benefits of actually choosing faces and organizing the People tab in your photo library. But there's a lot more we can do here. Since iOS 18, when Apple changed the photo app significantly, the design and organization has been a little divisive. And the best thing you can do is scroll to the very bottom of the Collections tab, and then you'll see Reorder as an option. Here, you can choose what gets shown at the top of the collections and in what order. Personally, I like the memories at the top because those are curated collections that Apple is making from your people and memories. I also have the pinned collection there at the top, and I'll show you how to adjust that, and then people, trips, and so forth. Trips is a really good tab as well, and it organizes photos by location. So here you see we have the memories, and then the Pin tab, you'll see a little edit button next to that. If I tap edit next to pinned, I can choose similar categories like trips or videos, and those will be pinned right there at the top of the collections, and there's other suggestions. So if you often go to media types because you're looking for screenshots or videos, or maybe you use a lot of shared albums and you want to see shared albums up at the top, or maybe selfies, well, you can add that drag to reorder where you would like it in the pinned area, tap the X, and now you'll see selfies right here, which is not just selfies of your face, but just photos taken with the selfie camera. And if you go to the very bottom of this pin section, you'll see an any collection or album. If you tap that, you can scroll over and choose an individual person or go down and choose a group. So if I want to see pictures of our fam, I can actually pin just that group of people, and you can have those specific groups or people in this pinned area. One of the things I like having in my pinned area is trips. Trips will actually curate photos based on a location, like we just went to Flagler Beach down here in Florida. Here's one where I went to Titusville to see the NASA launch, met Brandon Butch there, got the shuttle launch, my selfies with Brandon, all of that in one place because it organized by location, and you can even browse by years here. And then you can see trips from past years all organized, like when we went to New York, and here's us on the ferry. So reordering the collections, adding certain things to the pinned area, it's gonna help you get to photos you care about much faster. And don't sleep on the Memories tab. Memories is very powerful, again, once you've named those people, favorited them, and sometimes Memories will just create an album randomly that's actually pretty good. So May 21st over the years, this is showing me photos that were taken on today's date, and turns out 15 years ago, I was actually in Egypt on today's date, which is wild to think about. And something that Apple Intelligence is actually really good at is creating a memory according to your specifications. So I'm going to type here, and I can describe a memory. I can choose one of the suggestions here. You can even ask to add music. But I'm going to say photos and videos of our fam on different trips over the years with emotional music. You'll even see recommendations here to choose that group, our fam, and you can see it's now highlighted, so Apple Photos actually knows the exact people that I'm wanting it to pull from. It is going to take a minute, but once it's done, I can allow it to pull from my music library, and now I have something called Family Adventures over the years. I could tap in and actually scroll through all the photos that it chose to highlight. That's us whitewater rafting. There's us at the Biltmore Mansion. All photos from trips that we've taken, all with our fam together. And it also includes videos, which is nice. Having the people named and asking Memories to create something based on a date, a place, and people, really powerful. So that's naming and favoriting people, reordering the collections here in the Collections tab by going down to the bottom and reordering, make a memory using Apple Intelligence, and two more features to start taking advantage of. You probably know about shared albums, but there's also something called Shared Library, which is one of the newer features in Photos. You can choose to have a shared library with a significant other, and then you can even filter between personal library and shared library. So I can go to shared and see all of the photos that are syncing between me and my wife's library. To enable that shared library, go to the Settings app and then just search for the Photos app down here at the bottom. Here, there's a bunch of settings. We won't go into all of them. And you'll see here under sharing, you can choose one person or even multiple to have that shared library. You can have the Photos app suggest photos to move into that shared library. You can also suggest moments that include certain people. Again, important to actually name and label everyone in your family. And you can even choose to add a photo to the shared library directly from the camera or not. I have that off by default. And then what I do is when I take a photo that I would want to put in the shared library, maybe I want to put this photo in the shared library. Well, I can tap and hold on a photo, or I can do select and select multiple photos, and then the three dots, and you can move to the shared library. Now, those photos will appear on my wife's phone in her photo library, and it will be marked as shared between both of us. Now you can also do this from the moment you take a photo. Back in the Settings app, if you go down to Camera and then go down to Shared Library, you can choose Share from Camera, and you can choose to share automatically or manually. Automatically means every photo you take will just be put in the shared library. But I usually have it set to manually, so this way when I go to the Camera app, that little symbol up there means I can enable that this photo I'm about to take is going to go to the shared library. So I don't have to organize it later. It's going to happen right as I take the photo. Or I can leave it off by default, and this is just going to go to my personal library, and then I can move it to the shared library later. Using the shared library is really effective, and I've enjoyed doing that with my wife. Now finally, a couple settings you might want to adjust. I'm going to go back here to the Collections tab. And if you tap your face here in the top right, there's actually some different options than when you go to the Settings app. Some are similar, like you can turn off shared library suggestions and shared album activity if you don't want to see that. Library view options, you can choose what you want to see. I'll go back to personal library. And if you don't want things like videos playing or live photos automatically having motion, you can disable that here. So you can browse your photos and not see motion in like those grid views or the memories. You can also choose to loop videos, I have that on, and whether or not you want to view the full HDR by default. You can also manage your shared albums and it'll jump you over to the settings app here. And if you don't like the featured and memory content, you can disable it here in the settings, and even whether or not to choose holiday events, so photos and videos taken around specific holidays in your region. If you don't like photos organized by those, you can disable that here. You can also choose to reset suggested memories and people if you want to start over and just kind of redo that whole thing. And last little tip, a fun way to look at your photos is via this map view. You'll see it here in the pinned area, and if you don't see it there, just tap the edit button and then you can add the map from the list below. But going to the map view, this will show you photos from all around the world that you might have taken. Obviously living in Florida, most of them are here, but as you zoom in a little bit, you'll see those photos actually spread out. And if I scroll around, those are some photos I took in the Caribbean on different cruises. I can see photos that I took here in Canada, and I can see photos I took around the world. Here's me at the Berlin Museum. Can I just say the Gate of Ishtar, extremely impressive. Photos from the UK, and even photos that might have been shared with you, like here's Jason from Primary Technology. He's my co-host, and he took a picture with a listener. By the way, you can listen to Primary Technology, my weekly tech podcast, by scanning this QR code, or that link is below. So if you spend just a few minutes organizing your collections tab, it can go a long way to surfacing photos that you care about, that you enjoy seeing. And at the very bottom, there's also some wallpaper suggestions, which are pretty fun. Again, featuring people and places that are important to you. If you have any questions about photo management, let me know down in the comments. Get subscribed and hit that like button. WWDC is coming up. I'm actually going to be there in person, and so going to have a ton of shorts and reels and long form videos explaining all the updates. Rumors are a more intelligent Siri that might even be able to build shortcuts for you. So you know I'm going to be covering that in detail. I'll put a couple videos up here, like my latest action button and shortcuts video. And if you're interested in widgets, we talked about photo widgets in this video. I did another video all about some of the best widgets for iPhone, many of them free. You can check that video out right up here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.